are open to
Sorry.
engagement with different stakeholders.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And we will provide the required support and exposure as well to make sure it succeeds. You're doing very well. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, we missed that. We probably will get the record, so we missed that. We lost
you guys.
Thank you for stopping. But I'll just take the last shot, even though I wanted you to. But can you say quickly about that, just for the benefit of people on site, because we lost you. You said that there's nothing already happening on the platform now.
Yes.
Okay. Any idea of the volume? Can we know the volume that is happening now?
No, I don't have the records actually, because we are doing so many things. We want to see by volume, by currency circulation, by the owners of the wallet to see the movements around. It's just for monetary purpose, because if we decide at a certain time that there is so much money in circulation, what do we do? We have to look at the numbers. It will help us to see what we are doing. What I was saying was that the number of merchants that are onboarded is not so significant to feel the impact now, but we are just barely 2 weeks. And we are hoping that as more people adopt and more places use it, you will have it. In our premises here, the people that are providing catering services, we use the e-Naira to pay them, because it's easier for everybody. And all the fears that people had, if you have so much e-Naira, what do they do? You can move it back to your account. Especially for merchants, we didn't put any cap on what they can spend or have as balance. Just that maybe overnight we will implement a sweeping policy so that we don't have so much money out of the budget.
All right.
Otherwise, we will defeat the purpose of the two-tier.
Okay. One final question, super important question. What is the plan to integrate fintechs on the e-Naira? Because I've not seen any fintech yet.
At least we had some engagements, but the phases are many. We have 4 phases. We have the IFTOs, which are supposed to be in the second phase, and then we have the use of the SSD codes and so on. So I will take it back to the technical working committee, and then we'll have a formal discussion. Then like we got across to you when we are doing the design and consideration. So there will be a lot of things that the fintechs can do for the improvement of the system and for the adoption of the e-Naira.
All right, thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Umar Ahmed Bello, Director, Currency Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you for your time this morning and for enlightening us about e-Naira. Let's hope that more and more Nigerians, adopt it, and CBN works with stakeholders to build confidence and trust. And let's hope that, it leads to more transformation. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. We'll jump to the next session quickly, and that will be on combating anti-money laundering and terrorism financing with e-Naira. And that will be by Olusegun Odeku, Associate Director of Forensic Services at KPMG Nigeria. Olusegun, if you're online and you can hear me, just say hello.
Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you. So you have 10 minutes. Your time starts now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Just to confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So I would, for the next 10 minutes, I'll be speaking about, how we can combat anti-money laundering and terrorism financing with the e-Naira. Just to quickly go back to the definition of money laundering, which is really trying to disguise the proceeds of crime and concealing the source of the funds. And terrorism financing is financial support in any form of terrorism, or those who encourage, plan, or engage in terrorism. And then why are these issues important? United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime estimates that globally, 5% of the GDP is laundered, and the impact of that is what we see every day, damage to our financial systems and institutions, when the government pass policies, these policies are not as effective as they expect them to be because the system is not really showing a true and fair picture. There's damage to political and democratic institutions, which is something that most of us can identify with. When funds which serve as a powerful source of resource are in the wrong hands, those individuals can leverage those funds to cause some form of damage into the political systems. There's a negative impact on social economic development, as well as there's the reputation that is tied to a country when that country is being associated with money laundering issues. And just to quickly touch on the three major levels of money laundering, stages rather. There's the placement, which is putting the money in the financial system. Layering, which is moving it through several accounts, through transactions to confuse people and disguise the trail of the funds, and integration, which is bringing it back. And I think one of the reasons why I've touched on these three stages is because for layering, which we'll talk about in a bit, is where e-Naira really comes into play. So how do we see what do we see, and how do we view the e-Naira as helping to combat money laundering? The e-Naira is still in the early stages of adoption, like we just heard, but there are a number of possibilities and potentials that we see that can help the country as a whole better fight money laundering. As it is, the CBN has exclusive rights to mint, issue, distribute, redeem, and destroy the e-Naira. So that gives some comfort around the fact that there's a single source of origin for the e-Naira. It's built on a blockchain open ledger technology. So for every, it's unlike the paper notes that can be that can be reprinted or falsified. The e-Naira is unique. Every e-Naira that is minted is unique and is different. And I think that therein lies the key future that can help Nigeria to use e-Naira to combat money laundering. Because of that unique cryptographic signature that each e-Naira has, we're able to trace that money from the source to the destination. So irrespective of how much you try to layer these funds, if these funds are illegitimate, once they are identified as illegitimate as a source of entry, it's easy to follow the trail of the funds using those unique digital signatures on each e-Naira to their destination, and it will help regulators unravel the flow of funds or money laundering. It's also going to aid in the detection of association between accounts because of those unique signatures. What you will see is that as people begin to transact, typically people with launder funds are usually in a group, and you see as these transactions happen, using data analytics and some of the new investigative approaches out there, one can then begin to tie accounts to different groups and associations, especially around politically exposed persons, which is a major issue for most of the banks in Nigeria right now. Identifying who they associate or politically exposed persons is one issue that banks have not really been able to overcome. With the e-Naira, that should be much more straightforward because you then are able to establish that there is some form of connection between these two sets of accounts due to the flow of funds. Right now, what do we think? How do we think the regulators can further, strengthen the e-Naira to be able to combat money laundering? One is we believe that it can be used in public sector procurement. This would, if they are forced to use the use of it in the public sector procurement, this would also drive adoption as well as help to identify, actual use of funds that have been paid to contractors for certain projects, which we know is a major issue currently. One is the other way we see is, which will take some time, is harmonizing the existing digital balances of banks with the e-Naira. I think we need to get to a point where the options you have are maybe the paper note or just the e-Naira for us to be able to properly identify, how funds are flowing in the system. It can also be used for social programs. Right now, there are a lot of issues around, the ultimate beneficiaries of intended beneficiaries of social programs getting the funds that they have been designated to them, in some way.
You know the principles, the quicker you respond to the needs of the market, the better for you. So agility is very, very critical. And then also it's important that you take full stock of exactly what you want to do, what the problem is, and find a solution to that particular problem. So it's a path, it's a journey, it's something that doesn't happen overnight. They teach you in school systems analysis, feasibility studies that are critical to this process, system design, but you learn on the job, you learn through various channels, and then through coaching. So it's a journey, it doesn't happen overnight.
Okay, Mr. Thank you very much for that answer. I noticed that you had mentioned agility, so I guess that's one of the things that has helped you lead OPE to being a unicorn. And I guess now that we're talking about unicorns, there's a lot of talk about them beyond the hefty valuation. What value or what importance do you feel they hold for the Nigerian tech ecosystem apart from these valuations?
I think clearly there are three things that it holds. I mean, it clearly shows the humongous opportunity that is in Nigeria today when you look at the tech ecosystem. And now, obviously, Nigeria is on the map, which also clearly shows the world that there's a talent pool of people. There's a talent pool in Nigeria of people who are innovative, who are creative, who are able to, make stuff, get stuff done. And then, lastly, it also clearly shows that there's a huge impact that the tech ecosystem can make in Nigeria economically, and then also even in job creation. So beyond the valuation itself, it speaks volumes about the humongous opportunity in Nigeria. And I think that, and the fact that the tech ecosystem can make that impact in Nigeria and make a difference, turn things around.
Okay, that's great to hear. Talking about opportunity, so you mentioned how obviously this shows that there's a lot of opportunity within the sector. So how do we advise others who are keen to get to this or attain unicorn status? So what are the key ingredients of building a unicorn? Do you feel like there's a vague formula? You can just give us some little tips.
Well, I'm from the school of thought that success can be repeated. So there's a method to every success or madness, as we say. So it's understanding clearly. So one of the first and most important things is understanding clearly what problem you want to solve. And I think that's actually the very first step. Once you're clear on what problem you want to solve, the next thing you need to do is examine what the potential is for that problem in terms of scale. Because if you're going to achieve unicorn status, then you need to have critical mass, and critical mass is very, very important to achieve that. So you need to look at the possibility of solving large scale problems, and then after that you need to build a minimum viable product, which is something you use to test the market to see if it will resonate with the market or not. And once you do that, once you test and you find that this is something that works, then it's important that you need to double down on it, like I said. But it all begins first with understanding what problem you want to solve, and what the scale of that problem is.
Okay, thank you for the tips given to us. I'm sure this will be useful to many. So we've talked about unicorns and how once you attain unicorn status, it's this big thing, exclusive group of people. In store, what is beyond? Please tell us more.
Okay, well, so first, I'd like to make it clear that attaining unicorn status is not the end game. Because if that's the end game, there's no more path. I think the big
to hamper innovation. So we all know firsthand how OPay started its journey in Nigeria as what logistics business, I guess, hampered by regulation. So you've come to the market, you've overcome these issues. How did you overcome this and still come back stronger?
My thoughts on regulation. I
Hello.
think regulation is important.
Hello.
Regulation is actually very critical to sustaining the ecosystem. Otherwise, there will be chaos. And that's why as a company, we understand that regulation is important.
Hello.
Try to do everything to comply with these things. But it's important to also understand that regulation can be an obstacle to agility. You have to be innovative. No man is an island, so you need to navigate through all of those obstacles and by looking at the market and looking at the various partnerships and connections in the community that can help you surmount the challenges. The regulation is important because otherwise it's systemic risk to everyone, and we already see what's going on in the market in terms of risk, in terms of fraud. So regulation is good, and so far partnerships have been a core part of what we do to ensure that we surmount all of those challenges. Your license to something else, and then you work together and collaborate to surmount those challenges. That's
okay. So I noticed that you mentioned in your answer a lot about partnerships and how they played a pivotal role in how you overcome or surmounted challenges. I was wondering if, just for the benefit of the audience and people listening, how did you go about fostering those partnerships? Where do you meet? Like, what sorts of partnerships are you talking about? If you just expand a bit on that point.
The thing is understanding what you have the access or the rights to do, and also understand that somebody else has, the platform or the customers who are on my platform who need to pay bills. So you can come together and find a workable arrangement. You go out to seek partnership. If you want to scale and you also want to continue to build your business, it's important that you find the right partnership that will get you to that point. So that's just an example. And different things. There are super agents. If you take a look at the entire tech ecosystem, the super agents, there are those who are mobile money operators, there are switches, processors. So you just need to find the right partners that will get you to your destination.
Okay, thank you for the response. So I guess the takeaway from that is the power of collaboration and the impact it can have on business. So my next question is actually talking about the common path between Nigerian and African unicorns is that they're squarely aimed at the financial technology space. Is there a path to unicorn status beyond fintech? So we focus all about fintech, but what are your thoughts on this?
It's a very tricky question, but the thing is, I believe there is a path, but it's also, it's all a community. Like I said initially, the biggest challenge facing Africa is access to financial services. So whatever solution you provide, payment has to be a core part of that particular solution. Today to be able to address the specific challenge in that sector or segment. So if we talk about education or insurance or any other agriculture, access to finance is going to be a major obstacle. So you need to find the right, the right structure and the right arrangement to be able to make the kind of impact or achieve
the kind of status you intend to, so that's what I'm trying to get at. And I don't know if people understand me very clearly. So in Africa, the opportunities are there, but I still think for a while, payments is going to be, a lot of it is going to still be fintech, because access to financial services is the biggest problem in Africa. A lot of people are financially excluded.
Okay, so the takeaway from this is financial inclusion is just the center of all sectors. So even if you're working in the agri space, insurtech space, you need to make sure that your financial services or payment systems are adequate. So I guess we've talked about the making of more unicorns. I'd like to focus a bit about OPay and its journey. So can you basically explain how OPay came about and how it built its foundation in Nigeria, given that it's an international fintech company that is part of the Oprah Group company? So.
Yeah. Okay, well, so in 2017, Oprah, through a special purpose vehicle, OPay wanted to get into the market. So the route to market was something that they were trying to determine, and at the same time, the company which I was responsible for incubating in the technology group, Bottlenet at the time, was also looking for an investor. The name of that company is Paycom, and when Oprah took a look at the market, they felt that the best route into the market was to invest in Paycom, and that's where the OPay brand came to be. And OPay was launched in Nigeria in 2018, August 2018. So that was the route to market, and in entering the market, there was specific focus, to figure out the best path to scale and do that really quickly, like I said from the very beginning. So we had the mandate and the responsibility to make that happen. And what we did was just, after trying several things, decided that agent banking was going to be the right path to scale pretty quickly, and bang, today, we gained momentum pretty quickly, and right now, I mean, in terms of volume, we're processing over $3 billion a month in transactions, and we have millions and millions of customers already on the platform, and so it was important that we quickly identified and figured out the path to attaining the scale that we needed, which was the mandate that we had.
Okay, thank you. So I noticed you spoke about agent banking, which is a big focus of OPay's business now, but I know that when OPay first entered the market, they had plans to become a super app. So if you could just tell us a bit more about what formed this pivot, how did you arrive here? Yes.
Okay. When we entered the market, when OPay was launched, OPay was focused mainly on payments and facilitating payments, and that was the primary business. In focusing on the super app, we wanted to provide a use case that would resonate with the average man on the street, because that's our core market, making sure that we onboarded them, and that's where we decided to launch the super app, and then also launch the O-Ride product. But a few months after, I think in early 2020, Lagos State banned the ride-hailing business, and then also the pandemic hit, so the economics didn't make any more sense. So we decided to double down on our payment business as had been from the very beginning. So the super app was more for the general mass market, which was very important to providing a use case that resonated with the mass market, and that took us pretty far, because our volumes in terms of transactions actually increased. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much, Mr. Akpan, for your insights. Unfortunately, this is the end. We have no more time, but do we have enough time for questions? One question. Does anyone have any questions from the audience for Mr. Akpan? or online? Okay, so if there are no further questions at the end, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, Mr. Akpan. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, round of applause for her. Dr. Boomer and Dr. Vincent, who's coming out. I want you, three of you, to go and take it outside for us. Yeah, thank you, Akpan. Inspirational story. Yeah, we know about the journey and how far OP has come. Congrats to you and your team for what you have built. Okay, whether you're still at the World Fintech Festival, this is being held globally, and this Nigerian event is being held in partnership with the Singapore Fintech Festival and the Fintech Association of Nigeria. So welcome again. Remember the hashtag to use is hashtag WFF 2021, and it is brought to you by Access Bank and AFF, which is the Africa Fintech Foundry. So once again, welcome. Our next speaker will be speaking on the Nigerian digital architecture, and that will be by Kashifu Inua, the General of NITDA, ably represented by my Oga, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, Director of E-Government at NITDA. Please join me and welcome Dr. Vincent for his speech. Please, a round of applause for him.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really excited to be your guest this morning to represent my DG, who would have loved to be here personally to deliver this paper, but he's currently out of the country. He's in France with our president. He actually wanted to join from there, but they are really busy there, so he directed me to come in this morning to represent him. Those organizers really wanted him to be here, very, very difficult. When he knew that I had to travel, he said, okay, maybe we could do it virtually. Again, it was difficult there, so he decided to come and represent him. So we're really glad to be here this morning. Well, we are going to be talking, how much time do I have? 10. I'll be trying for 40 minutes. Anyway, we'll just run through what we have there. So what we're talking about this morning is about Nigerian digital architecture, the journey so far. We are aware that NITDA is the government body in charge of regulating IT in Nigeria, and the Pastor is under Federal Ministry of Coordination and Digital Economy. And even before the designation of the military as Minister of Digital Economy, NITDA has done a lot in the area of creating national IT policy, national government master plan, and so many other activities. But let me just run through this slide. Can we move, please? Who's controlling me? Okay. Keep moving, keep moving. Just like the summary of the outline of the presentation. Keep moving. Yeah, for any country to actually move into digital age and be digitally transformed, there's some basic things we need to really consider, which is the general practice globally. We look at direction, where are you headed as a country in line with global best practice and what is happening mostly in developed countries. Look at your foundational capabilities. What do you really have? What are your targets? What are the priority areas? Is it in the area of education that will lead to transformation? Next, please. Sorry, since last time you can just leave this and just speak. I think it's best for us. I said before that NIDA was established in 2001 to build national IT policy under the Ministry of Communications then. With the coming of this current government, in 2019 precisely, the ministry was designated as Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. When we started, our focus was to integrate the national IT policy for the country, looking at sectoral application of ICT, agri, education, health, judiciary, education, all sectors of the economy. And what we were doing really there was to create awareness and encourage all these sectors to effectively deploy ICT to achieve their mandates. Then we came up with National Government Master Plan, which we developed in collaboration with COICA, that is Korea International Agency for International Cooperation. What we did was to develop a national digital economic policy and strategy for the country with 8 major pillars, which